Hello YouTube, it's Spotty321 here, and I'm back with another episode of my new series, Can I Beat Pokémon Sword using only a Magikarp? So before we get started, don't forget to destroy that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new for more episodes of this series. In between this episode and the last episode, I used Magikarp in a few max raid battles in order to collect some candies which I could use to increase the Dynamax level and overall level of my Magikarp so that it would be more usable for the next part of the game. As you can see here, I fed it some Dynamax candies and some XP candies to increase its stats and its Dynamax level. I also did a bit of fishing because Goldeen has a 5% chance of holding the item, the Mystic Water. The Mystic Water increases the power of water-type attacks, which makes it extremely useful on Magikarp as I will be using Hydro Pump most of the time. I'm back, and as you can see, I was finally able to catch Goldeen with the Mystic Water. So I'll be sending it to the box with the rest of them and taking the Mystic Water. But before we give Magikarp the Mystic Water, let's take a look at its stats. It's level 21, and now fully EV trained in special attack and speed, which are the stats we're going to need most. I gave it the TR for Hydro Pump, and maxed out the power points. So now, we'll just put those other Goldeen into the box with the rest of them, so that Magikarp will be the only Pokemon in our party. And now we'll give it the Mystic Water so we can continue on with our adventure. Our first goal will be to head through the wild area to the town of Motostoke, where we will participate in the opening ceremony for the gym challenge. So as you can see, I'm running over there. And we'll proceed up these steps. After a few cutscenes, we made it to the top part of Motostoke, top to hop, and proceeded inside of the Motostoke Stadium in order to register for the gym challenge. Here, for the first time, we saw our second rival, Bede, and registered. Now we decide to pick 321 as our number, as my channel name is Spotty321. So let's continue onwards. Now it's time to head for the Badoo drop-in. So after a little bit of running, I was able to make it here. The first time I played through this game, I actually had no idea where this was, and it took me quite a bit of time to find it. So now we proceed on in, talk to Sonia, and hear a little bit about the legend of Galar. Then we decide to head up, and we run into Team Skull, which appear to be causing trouble like they always do. Team Skull is definitely not my favorite team, but they're not awful. So they send out Zigzagoon, I send out Magikarp. We go for Tackle by mistake. It goes for Lick. Controller drift is a really big problem, but anyways, we go for Hydro Pump, and we take it out. Gain a little bit of experience points. And we've defeated our first trainer using only Magikarp. Next we move on to the second grunt. The grunt sends out a Nickit, we send out Magikarp. Go for Hydro Pump the first time. It goes for Quick Attack, but we just take it out with a Hydro Pump. Next up is a double battle with me and Hop versus 2 Team Yell Grunts. I wish that Team Yell had gotten a better part in the story, like most of the teams from the old generation. I feel like the story for Sword and Shield was lacking a bit, but anyways, let's continue onward. Hop sends out his Wooloo, we send out our Magikarp. Nickit goes for Quick Attack, we go for Hydro Pump and take it out. And Wooloo is useless like always, going for Defense Curl. So on the next turn, we just go for Hydro Pump and take out the Zigzagoon. Or not, because it decides to avoid the attack. With Hydro Pump having 80 accuracy, that's bound to happen at some time, so we may end up losing battles because of that. So on the next turn, we are able to fire off that Hydro Pump, and Zigzagoon is down, meaning the first 3 battles of the game using only a Magikarp have been finished. Marnie shows up, and we find out that Team Yell are some overly excited fans of hers. And then she talks to us a little bit more, and I completely forget that I'm supposed to check in and go to my room for the night. But then I eventually remember, and the next day comes, and it's finally time for the opening ceremony. So we head over to the Motostoke Gym Stadium, talk to the front deskman, and proceed on in. So here it begins, our long gym challenge that will eventually take us to a battle against the one and only champion of the region, Leon. So here Chairman Rose decides to give a nice lengthy explanation and get the crowd pumped, because the 8 gym leaders will now be entering the stadium. So, here they come. First up is the Grass-type MILO, then Water-type Nessa, Fire-type Kabu, Fighting-type Bea, Fairy-type Opal, Rock-type Gordy, and then the Dragon-type Raihan. And they're missing Piers, of course, but what can you do? So now it's time for me and the rest of the gym challengers to enter the stadium. So here it begins, our long challenge using only a Magikarp. So after that, we're greeted by Hop, Leon, and Chairman Rose. He seems so innocent right now, but just wait. So now we know that we have to head on Route 3 towards Turf Field for our first gym battle. So we first get the flying taxi courtesy of Rose and head west where we meet up with Hop. So he challenges us to a battle and sends out his signature Wooloo. We send out Magikarp and use Hydro Pump. We outspeed and easily take it out. Next up is his starter Pokemon Sobble. We use Hydro Pump. It almost takes it out, but isn't quite able to. He goes for Water Gun, does a little bit of damage, and then uses a potion, but Hydro Pump misses. We go for Hydro Pump again, and are able to take him out. Now we did get a crit there, but I highly doubt it mattered. Then he does a whole thing about how he's going to win, even though he has 1 Pokemon left. We go for Hydro Pump, and Rookity is down. After that, we do a bit of traveling on Route 3, and meet up with the next trainer, Schoolboy Peter. He sends out a Sizzlipede, which will be easy for our Magikarp to take out with a super effective Hydro Pump. And next up, he sends out his Doppler. We go for Hydro Pump again. And another easy win. So, now we have to head inside Galar Mine. But first, Magikarp tries to evolve. Of course, we say no. So, as I was saying, we head inside Galar Mine. But first, get healed up. We then skip all of the unnecessary trainers. But we are forced to battle Worker Sandra. She sends out a Diglett. We send out our Magikarp. And are able to use Hydro Pump for super effective damage, taking out the Diglett with ease. And gain a little bit of XP. She sends out a Drillbur. We go for Hydro Pump again and take that out as well. We then continue onwards and meet up with Bede. Bede is an interesting character in this game, and I really like it how they gave you a rude rival, like in the Generation 1 games. It just makes it more fun, and it's a little interesting. But anyway, he sends us Colossus, which we are able to destroy with Magikarp. And out comes Gothita. We fire off Hydro Pump and take it out as well. We got a crit there, but again, I don't think it mattered. And out comes the last Pokemon, Hatina. We go for Hydro Pump, but it misses. Hatina uses Confusion. We go for it again, but miss it again. See, even though 80 accuracy is pretty good, stuff like this is gonna happen from time to time. So, unfortunately, as a result of us missing 3 times in a row, we lose the battle and are forced to try again. So we run through the tunnel quickly. And then make it back to Bede. He does his whole cutscene again, and we start the battle over. He sends out Colossus. We send out Magikarp, destroy it with Hydro Pump, and out comes Gothita. Same deal here, we go for Hydro Pump, and it goes down. Now let's hope the same thing doesn't happen this time, and we are able to hit the Hydro Pump. So yes, finally, we hit one, and Hatina goes down, meaning that we won the battle. So now we are free to proceed on to Turf Field for our first gym fight. We first heal up, and then almost get hit by MILO's Wooloo. He tells us a little bit about his gym, and then we see Hop, who tells us we need to go talk to Sonia on the top of the hill. But first, we have to get rid of Splash so that I don't misclick it by mistake, and also give Magikarp a nice nickname. For now, I decide to name it Magic the Magikarp. If you guys have any suggestions for a better name, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Now we head up to Sonia. And she tells us a little bit about the Darkest Day, which was a bad event that supposedly happened long ago in Galar. But anyway, we head on towards our first gym battle. After checking on a couple things, I head on in and we begin our gym mission. the league staff explains it, and I start to herd the Wooloo, which, as you can see, I'm completely awful at. So I pass the first couple, but then I'm forced to battle Gym Trainer Samuel. He sends out his Gossifleur, I send out Magikarp, we go for Hydro Pump, and it does a good amount but doesn't take it out. It goes for Rapid Spin, but we still outspeed and take out the Gossifleur. And that's the battle won. So we keep going, make sure to try to avoid that trainer. And now we're on the last part of the gym mission, which is also the most tough, and as you can see, I failed miserably. But eventually I was able to get the last couple of Wooloo to get along. And finally, I'm ready to fight the gym leader. So I head on in. And now it's time to face our first gym leader, Milo. He sends out his Gossifleur. We send out the Magikarp. And we get a whole thing about the Dynamax phenomenon. So you know what we gotta do? We're gonna Dynamax and go for Max Geyser. My thought process here is that I wanted to Dynamax, hoping to maybe one-hit KO the Gossifleur and set up the rain for his Dynamax. So we Dynamax, go for Max Geyser, and unfortunately it does just over half damage. However, we do get to set up that very crucial rain. He gets a critical hit using Round. We go for Max Geyser again, and that takes out the Gossifleur. And a little bit of experience. And out comes his Dynamax Eldegoss. Go for Max Geyser again. He Dynamaxes his Pokemon. We fire off the Max Geyser, but it only does maybe a fifth damage. I was really hoping that it would do a lot more, but it barely did anything. Meanwhile, he goes for a Maxi Overgrowth and nearly takes us out. So with that, we know that there's no way of winning this battle. So we just fire off our Hydro Pump, which does a little bit more damage, but we're hit with another Max Overgrowth, and that's GG. So now we have to go and train up our Pokemon. So as you can see here, Nurse Joy heals Magikarp. And I forget where the back button is, but then I go give it some candy. It tries to evolve, but we tell it no. Give it some more candy. Again, it tries to evolve. If only I had the Everstone, that would make it much easier, but I have to keep the Mystic Water on it, because that's a much better item. So here goes try number 2. He sends out Gossifleur, we send out Magic the Magikarp. We decide not to go for the Dynamax this time because Hydro Pump should be able to still hit KO the Gossifleur. And as you can see here, we did a ton of damage to it. And it only did 6 damage to us. So this is almost a free KO. And next up is the Dynamax Eldegoss. So now we have our full Dynamax saved up here, and we are a few levels higher, so hopefully this will go better. We Dynamax our Magikarp and turn it into one big fish. And the fact that we Dynamaxed first also means that we will go first. That's just something I wanted to mention in case you guys didn't know. Whoever Dynamaxes first, that means they outspeed. And in a speed tie, of course, it's random. So Magikarp uses Max Geyser, and it still doesn't do very much. However, we do get to set up the rain, meaning next time it'll do more. Eldegoss goes for Max Strike, which does a lot of damage, and also means we have about 2 turns to try and KO it. So we go for Max Geyser again, and it looks like it did enough damage that we'll be able to take it out on the next turn. Meanwhile, it does plenty of damage to us, and it will definitely be able to if we don't KO it. So we go for Max Geyser again, and it just barely survives. I was quite surprised by this. I really thought that we were going to KO it here, but instead it takes us out, and try number 2 failed. So again, we go back to the Pokemon Center. And our Pokemon is restored back to full health. And we decide to train it up a couple more levels. Since we were so close right there, I know that it won't need more than a couple more levels in order to win the battle. So we train it up to level 28 using some rare candies from the max raid battles I did. And it's time to try again. Here we go, attempt number 3. Gossifleur comes out, Magikarp comes out. I'm gonna play it the same way as last time. No Dynamax right off the bat, we Dynamax when he Dynamaxes. Magic goes for Hydro Pump and does a ton of damage, but is not able to take it out in one hit. It goes for Round, which does a decent amount of damage, but we take it out with another Hydro Pump. Now we head into the Eldegoss. Because we powered up Magikarp a bit, hopefully, assuming RNG is on our side with the rolls. If you don't know what that means, when the damage calculation is done, the move's power is multiplied by a random number between 1 and 0.85, meaning there are 16 possible rolls that you can get. So you could do 0.85 damage, which is a min roll, or do the amount of damage that you would do without this applying, which would be a max roll. What likely happened in the last battle is the first one was a higher roll, maybe even a max roll, but the second one was a min roll, or something close to that, which is why the first one appeared to do a bit more damage than the second one. It's just a quick Pokemon fact that, in case you didn't know. So we Dynamax, he Dynamaxes, and we go for Max Geyser again. The Crucial Rain is set up. Eldegoss goes for Max Strike. and it lowers our speed, but we still outspeed it thanks to all of those speed EVs. And this time we do plenty of damage, but then he decides to go for the grass type move, and it almost KOs us, but we are able to hang on, which means that on the next turn we get to fire off a max geyser, and battle 1. We did it. We took out the first gym in Pokémon Sword using only a Magikarp without even having to use a single item. The fact that Magikarp can beat the first gym leader without being that much over leveled, and again not using a single item, just goes to show that Sword and Shield isn't actually that much of a tough game when you think about it. I wish that when they made the game, Game Freak had put in an easy, medium, and hard mode so that some trainers who want more of a challenge can increase the levels and AIs of the gym leaders and other boss battles to make the game a little bit more tough. But anyway, I think that's where we're going to call it for this episode. I appreciate you guys taking time to come and watch this series, and it was a lot of fun to make. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new for more episodes of this series. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.